the Aussie Gridiron Network.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Boys, hang your massive Devons out for week 7.
Mate, if we get this done quickly, I can line back up for round 2.
Don't like speaking ill of the team and everything, but I still think he's going to shit the bed.
Aussie?
And I don't know, what's the worst an alien will do? Just probe you a bit.
Yeah, it's like a classic massage that I get every week. It's just like, give me the anal probes, that part of the package.
NFL?
I was singing like a canary.
Oh my god. Like a drunk canary. Yeah. Right. Fuck me. Tight end is a barren wasteland.
Fantasy.
Analysis from Benny Jones.
Analysis. Well done.
Nice.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
I don't need to put it in your Keyshawn Butte, but I would take a Colston Yankoff.
For the Aussie Gridiron Network, this is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. It's Australia's premier NFL fantasy show. It is back, like it always is on a Sunday, for the premiere show of the week. And no other podcast does a show like this. It is the Starts of the Week show. They call me Matty C, and with me tonight is, well, a bloke who he was really keen on chasing down the world. He got in front, and then he's like, hey, let's not end this too soon. Let's play cat and mouse here. And he legitimately just went and chose some risky guys just to take the week off. But he is back with an erection now that he is in last place and ready to dominate the segment. It is Australia's finest fantasy football analyst, Taylor Goodall. How are you, mate?
I haven't been able to get rid of this erection for 7 weeks. I don't see it stopping now. For any Seinfeld fans out there, we all thought that Kramer was the arse man, but really it is Benny Jones, as we learnt on last episode. So we'd love to welcome back the arse man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Benny, welcome back, mate. After that wonderful Butte reference at the last show too, I recommend anyone who's got the Friday show, get amongst it. But, mate, glad that we didn't torture you too much and that you are willing to sit through another 45 minutes of your life hanging out.
That was fantastic. Loved it.
You're either a really good dude or extremely mentally ill, and both ways I'm glad you're here. The show tonight, what we want to get through is we're going to talk about, we've got the mailbag. I'm going to drag that sack in just a second. Sack joke, and then we'll get into the starts of the week. But I did want to mention that the fellas from G'day Gridiron did a great show yesterday that you would have found here on this feed with the previews for the week, and they always pick 4 games, really compelling games, and mate, get amongst it. Earlier in the week, they also did their G'day AI, where they go through the big fantasy questions as determined by AI and also their overreactions. So go and find that if you haven't caught them, and give yourself an uppercut if you haven't caught them. But we also had the Friday show where poor Benny, we walked him through the 5 questions from 2. I don't even know what we chose. Taylor, what was our superlative?
I think it went to arse clowns or something at the end.
No, there was something to do with arse.
It needed to be arse related.
It was an homage.
Wouldn't have been fitting for Benny, wouldn't it?
We got him through that.
But he had a crack at it, didn't he?
Very nice.
Very nice.
Benny's looking like a proud father. Look at him.
I know. To get a very nice from the arse aficionado, I'm very proud of it.
Oh, it's so good. He's looking like he's just guided you off the bike and you're finally riding down the driveway for the first time, and he's sitting back with this like satisfaction of like, he's doing it.
Yeah, he's the godfather of cheeks.
So much of this is going in drops, by the way. The best thing about this show is the stupid banter is where so many of the silly little drops come from, and it's again, it's something our show does that no one else does.
The best of no context. It's so good.
Fellas, it's time to bring in the sack.
Where's the mailman?
Need some advice?
Would you rather have a small slice of a lovely cake,
Who has the mail?
or would you rather a huge piece of a dog shit cake?
Thanks to your questions at Pastry Press NFL.
And Aussie NFL Fantasy.
I guess this is kind of a shit cake, but it can be a decent cake too.
All right, our first one is actually, I think we're going to know that the author of this one. It's from at BK Paddo's Bear Club.
Who could that be?
No. Sounds familiar, and it'll come to me. All right, I'm going to throw this one to Benny. Did the Bears actually have 3 number 1 wide receivers, given what we've seen the last 3 weeks? I guess he's talking about Rome Odunze having a 20-point game, DJ Moore having a 20-point game, Keenan Allen going ham.
Yeah, look, I am a big DJ Moore fan. I really like him, and Caleb obviously was much better. Whether he can keep it up, that's sort of the other question. But I think as far as quality of the wide receivers themselves, yeah, I believe they do.
Wow. Are you in on Udunze for like later in the year? Is that sort of
Yeah, I reckon he's really good. And obviously the other two, obviously Keenan's on the back end of his career though. So we'll see if he actually can hang on for another year or two. But yeah, it's up in the air at the moment.
I tell you, we were pretty keen on Keenan Allen, just given that, he's a pretty skillful wide receiver, and we know that he's been a target monster at the Chargers, but we weren't sure what it was going to be like moving to an offense where we weren't sure what the volume was going to be like. How do you feel about the three number one wide receivers at Bears?
I believe this is him trying to marry up the Packers wide receiver 3 or 10 wide receiver ones or whatever he went with in the preseason. Look, it was great to see. I will just sort of pour some cold water on it in that, like, there was the fucking Jags. Like, the Jags defense is, like, historically bad. And to their credit, I guess, if you're looking for someone, like, if you're looking to buy or whatever, they do have 2 more matchups that are unbelievable coming out of the buy. So that's actually, like, BK Pato. That could be anyone. But there's a man named Kev that I'm in a guillotine league with, can't be related.
Right.
He actually offered me just DeAndre Swift for Chase Brown last week. And I looked up their run of matchups, even though there was a buy in between, and I snapped it up because I was like, They have unbelievable matchups coming up. And that was really what that byproduct was against the Jags. Is I just think there was a great situation for Caleb, and I brought up the Taylor talk, and I just do feel like I need to see it later in the year against some better defenses to think like all of a sudden they've just got all these amazing wide receivers. Do I think they're 3 very talented receivers? Yes. Odunze is going to be amazing. He's a very good dynasty asset. Keenan's at the end of his career, and look, I don't think I would call him a wide receiver 1 at this point. I think he's going to be decent for Caleb in his rookie season, but I don't even know if he'll be there next year.
Hater.
I guess so. Did Dunze even have a great game last week?
No, week before.
Yeah.
Week before. He had 21 points against...
yeah, okay. I mean, Dunze I see as a wide receiver 1 in the future. I don't see him as 1 now. I really do see DJ Moore as 1. But the other 2, I would say no. At this point.
I feel like in the spirit of the question, you did say at some stage each of them have been 1. So let's just say you agree with BK Pato's Bear Club. Let's say that. Look, I am the same as Benny, though. Like 2 weeks ago, I'm old enough to remember this because, as we established before, I'm as old as the fucking rocks. But DJ Moore, buy candidate for me on our buy low, sell high episode. And do you know what happened? The very next week, he went out and threw up 20-odd points. This week, just gone by, I was a bit leaner. But, and I did this for the same reason. There's a bye week in the middle, but he had a run of 4 or 5 matchups where I'm like, give me that, because then I'll be able to sell the hell out of him and keep the loom spinning, because it's not about trading for the guy and then just dying with him. No, the season keeps rolling and you keep learning and the matchups change. So as Benny's saying, DJ Moore, great and playing well, an excellent wide receiver 1, matchups to just die for, but then it stops, and that's when you want to get off the Bears passing offense. And I mean, I did the same thing with Swift. There was a week where you and I went heads up, Tay, with Moore and Swift, and it was the week before the buy low, sell high episode. So I'm on record the week before going, DJ Moore, whatever. Swift kills it. Then the next week I'm out there going, buy DJ Moore. So it does also play to, you have to be cognizant of what the matchups are, and that just because you like a guy 1 week doesn't mean you have to like him the next, and just because you hated a guy doesn't mean you can't move the other direction.
That was a great call on Swift, because he was a historic ass like leading into that game. He was so bad.
Yeah.
Like, it was actually really ballsy to even say he's going to be half decent, let alone a breakout. So that was a very
full of matchup. Yep. But also, I think this is one of these things where I'm getting one thing right every week. Only one. I'm making 100 calls, getting one thing right. So when I get it right, I've got to remind you. So
Lean on it.
I've learned it from a great showman. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Better Goodalls.
The greatest showman.
Next one comes in from DJ Shockinson. All right. So This one, okay, we were only talking about this on the earlier show, is that the New England Patriots have had a few changes here. But the question comes in and says, is Ramondre worthwhile now since May has taken over the starting job in New England? Is he like considerable as a buy low? Tay? What do you think?
It's a hard one because a lot of the issues he has are still there. Like, the offensive line's still terrible. And just because May's there, I don't all of a sudden think like the offense is going to be like ridiculously good or anything. Like, it's still going to be bottom half of the league. But is there an option, like an opportunity for it to be better than it was for Brissett? For sure. Like, there's no way it could be worse. So there's going to be more red zone opportunities. My worry has always been, and I brought this up before the season started, I just don't think he's going to have a good yards per carry, and I still don't think he will, even with May there. Like, it's the offensive line is still going to struggle. So it's really about, and we haven't seen Stevenson with May. So I need to see what it looks like in the passing game. Like, where Stevenson has always, buttered his bread has been in the passing game. He's never been this amazing runner between the tackles. He's just got so many dump offs. So I need to see what it looks like. I wouldn't like jump in on a buy low, because if Drake May just doesn't have a tendency to dump off to him, then I don't know what I'm getting. I'm getting like a 10% bump up of red zone looks, but still a bad yards per carry behind a bad offensive line. So I don't know. It's, for me, it might be too late if I wait a week and he dominates and Drake May's great with him, so I might miss the boat. But for me, it's not one I want to risk early. I want to wait and see.
I mean, he may miss this week too, and against Houston, who aren't the easiest running defense, but then the next week's the Jags. So,
exactly.
Oh my God. But also, I mean, this is a thing that I didn't realize about Ramondre until I got this question. I'm like, well, he was a top 10 running back 2 out of his 5 starts, and another one of them, he was right on the edge of top 10. So, is it really hurting him? Maybe I've just been a bit of a Ramondre hater. Benny, what say you, mate?
Yeah, look, I've never been huge on Ramondre, but I am an owner this year. And coming from an owner,
you will know better than everyone. Then you will know better because you've lived it.
Yeah, exactly. So he started the season on fire, and I thought, this is great.
Yeah,
and he went pretty much a 0 and a 3 or something like that in the next couple of games, and then bounced back and everything.
Came back like a 20 against Miami, and you're like, come on.
Yeah, so on that, I don't know if it's really a buy low, really, because I think you're going to get a lot of low at the same time. So for me, it's a bit it's a bit risky. I'm going to try and offload him at some point, Tay, if you want him.
After the Jags game. Wait till after the Jags game.
Yeah. I think,
he puts up a 50 burger.
Yeah, I'm going to try and time it well. But yeah, for me, I've never really been super in on him anyway.
Okay.
And he hasn't been used massively in the receiving game this year either already. Like, he's had a couple of games where he's had 4 receptions or whatever, but not for massive yards or anything either. So, look, like Tay said, you haven't actually seen him in May yet either. So it'll be interesting to see. Okay. But, just keep an eye on it, really.
So this is something where you're probably not trading him now because you've sort of seen the green shoots, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to...
Like, if I'm trying to trade for him from you, I'm probably not going to give you what you think he's worth, right?
So it's going to be a difficult task, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. So it might be hard to buy him low. And even then, what are you even buying? It's a good one. I got one from at Jenny and the Jets 24. Jenny and the Jets. Should I be selling Bijan high after last week, Tay?
Yeah, obviously... You were very high on him. You made your
he's my buy.
Try and get him.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a hard one because I don't believe just off one awesome performance last week that his his I guess trade value is anywhere mirrored where you drafted him. And if you drafted him, yes, you could be a bit frustrated, but you just saw what you wanted to see before the season started. So I don't know. I just don't think that you're getting what you probably need to trade him now. Like, you've got one good game. You've still also got all these hamstring sort of issues that are popping up in, before games and stuff like that. You've got Algier looking amazing and stuff like that. I know these are reasons as to why you should get rid of him, but it's also reasons why I don't think you're going to get enough in a trade. So I just feel like you're better off just staying the course with Bijan because I honestly think there's an opportunity that it gets better for him, not so much stays how it is or gets worse. I know Algier looks great, but I still feel like it's going to be Bijan's backfield as long as he's healthy. I just think if you can, I would probably make sure I'm handcuffing him with Algier, and that would be my, like, at least it takes the risk away that if he misses, all of a sudden you've got Algier who steps in and does 90% anyway. I don't think I'd be trading him right now. I still don't think people aren't stupid. They look at that Carolina matchup and go, that's probably why he dominated. So I don't know. I don't think his value is anywhere near it was when you drafted him still, even off that game. So I would say no.
Yeah, I completely agree with Tay as far as the value of him goes. It's like low for what you drafted him and everything. I think efficiency-wise and stuff, he hasn't been horrible either. He's had a couple of bad games. It's a bit scary seeing snaps and everything go down as well, which is obviously going to affect people's view on him as well of what they'll actually pay for him. And for him in the draft sort of thing, you'd be wanting to stick with it, I think.
I mean, the reason I'd want to stay in the Flames here too is that, okay, so they get Seattle this week. You aren't the world's easiest rushing defense. Apparently the passing defense you can throw all over them. But the next four are like Tampa, Dallas, New Orleans, Denver. You can run on all of them. So it's like, well, actually, if you're going to trade him, hang on for a month. Just hold your breath for a month. And as long as he's not hurt, then it should be all right. And I know he's been having a little bit of hamstring trouble, but that's really, to me, that's the question is he healthy? Like, if you're worried about his health, maybe you do try and sell him.
The team seems to be getting better on offense too, and I feel like that's only going to help him moving forward. So I'd wait and see, like, if this team is getting better and Kirk Cousins is getting healthier with the Achilles and everything, there might be a better opportunity to trade him. Like, if you really are worried about the snaps and things like that, he might still find a way to have two more really, really good games. And then if you're going, oh, shit, I am worried about the snap counts, but he's just come off 3 awesome games, that might be the moment there where you're actually getting something like the value that you drafted him at. Whereas don't make it a sunk cost. Don't get rid of him now.
Okay. We got time for one more, do you reckon? This one's just a straight rest of season one or the other, do you reckon?
Sounds good.
Anyway, from Matt Scooper Cup. And what I like about this one is it's got Cooper and Cup, the K and the C, the other way around. Scooper Cup. I love that. Rest of season, Benny, are you in on Diggs or Godwin rest of season?
I think Godwin, to be honest. Diggs, I was a bit worried. He's obviously been better than I thought he was going to be. Excuse me. Than I thought he was going to be this season. With Nico a bit injured as well. It's actually quite good for him. But I do like Godwin, how Godwin's going, and also just like we were talking about in the last show, the Tampa Bay offense they're just throwing it. So it's looking good for Godwin, and he's obviously been really good so far.
So slinging the piss out of it, is that what you said, Tay, about the Tampa Bay offense?
Sounds like a Taylor special, that kind of sentence, but. I'm with Benny, especially saying rest of season. Look, if you were to take bracket the next, say, 3 weeks where we know Nico's out. Do I think that Diggs could outscore Goldwyn? Yes, I do. And Diggs being the one on that team with Stroud, I do feel like that, like he's set up to success in that time. But the fact that we know Nico's coming back, rest of season, Goldwyn clearly has shown that he's going to dominate whether Mike Evans is there or not. And Benny said it best, like Tampa's just throwing the ball so well at the moment, and I just don't think it's going to stop. So, I would take Godwin the rest of the season for sure.
Do you think it matters what your record is? Like, I was just thinking about this. Okay, so if I've got 5 and 6 wins, then I'm just like, give me Godwin because I'm thinking longer term. But, mate, if I'm 3 and 3, maybe I'm in the Diggs camp.
I would say no, only because I don't think it's like a foregone conclusion that Diggs beats him. Like, if it was like way more obvious that like it's this guy's just set up, he's got 3 ridiculous matchups, like and there's a reason why like the other guy like is probably set for down weeks. Yes, I could see that, but I'm saying that Diggs has a chance of beating him in the next 3 weeks, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion at all.
Yep.
Like Goldwyn just up 120 and 2. Last week. So even if Diggs is the one for the next 3 weeks, I don't think it's guaranteed that he outscores Godwin at all. So, I don't think you have to make that move, even if you are in a spot that you need these next 3 wins. Because I think Goldwood is just as good a chance of giving you those as Diggs is.
Yeah, cool. I just kind of wonder sometimes if desperation can make people feel an urgency that maybe isn't really as urgent as they think. So this is kind of why I asked that. No. Excellent job, fellas. I reckon I'd lean the same way. But how about that? We got through 4. That's like a world record for us.
Yeah, I love it.
In the beginning there was nothing, a featureless void. From the formless primordial state, a legend was born when forces combined to create a solid object of significant value. As planets were formed and Earth itself was shaped, the object lay awaiting its destiny. Seas rise and fall, mountains emerge, and upon the highest mountain, an intrepid adventurer happens upon the object. A worthy prize for ascending this, the tallest of peaks. This object has been documented to be held by many of the great dynasties of mankind, from the Persians to the Hans, the Mongols and the Ottomans, lives lost defending it from those who seek to possess it. Now it is in the trust of 3 wise men, who also reach such pinnacles, to be held by he who imparts the most astute knowledge upon fellow mankind. The winner of the annual Aussie NFL Fantasy Show Starts of the Week.
Hey, been a while, isn't it?
Oh, it is time for the segment that people come from far yonder for. In fact, no fantasy show does a segment like this at all. We've been doing this. This is our 4th year of having us just do a segment where we pick up players who are pretty well not started and pit them against each other and turn it into what it is today, where now it is also us against the whole fucking world. It is Starts of the Week. I'm going to get you to tell me a little bit about Starts of the Week last week, Tay.
Yeah, like I said, it's always fun when we do these recordings and you wake up the next day and half your team's fucking questionable. It feels wonderful because, you know, we're obviously not getting the full information on our players at this stage. It's just you're basically just jumping in and hoping that, you know, it's full of water and not full of dog shit. And basically I leapt face first in the dog shit last week, and Jacoby Myers at my wide receiver position just didn't go, and Conklin did in the end, but I kind of got the feeling he wasn't 100% anyway. But in the end, that's just how it is. You and Kieran put up very good scores anyway, so there's a chance even if I had my full team, I might not have, you know, gotten anything better than last place anyway. So it's just one of those weeks.
Mate, and I just felt so blessed that I got to have not just Baker Mayfield, but also my fantasy boyfriend, Cortland Sutton, in my team. And I'm still not sure that he really hung on to that touchdown, but I don't care. Self-benefit gets in the way there.
It's in the annals of history.
Very nice.
I'm getting a report card at the end from Betty.
Yeah.
The team Kieran threw out there, we had a little bit of a disagreement about whether we should allow Goddard in the segment, and then he didn't even play. But what we didn't do was actually probably kick enough stones over with Pollard, because at the time he was picked, he was coming off the bye, and then his ownership had always been high, but his start rate rocket. He ended up at 79%. So I think what we've learned too is coming out of buys, we probably need to be a little bit cognizant of what the trend is on a player, because and you know, Pollard goes out and scores 17.8, and it may not be the difference between Kieran winning the segment or not. It doesn't actually matter now because it's in the books. But this is something that we do need to consider going forward. That will probably be the teams coming off the bye and back into circulation, because we probably didn't know enough about what was going to happen there. At any rate, taking Downs and Mark Andrews inspired enough to me. I think Kieran deserves to win on segment even then, just on those 2 calls, because both of them were great calls. We didn't know if Richardson was going to have Flacco thrown to him. He did. He benefited from it. We didn't know whether it was Andrews or Likely who was going to be the beneficiary of the tight end work, and then Andrews comes out, gets the touchdown, really involved. So just hats off to Kieran, a very worthy winner, throws up 65, which should win any week, and he puts the world back in front. Have a look at this scorecard now, because Tay had been not only happy about drawing level on points, but having the superior aggregate. Well, that's now shifted, with Kieran throwing up 65 and Tay missing a starter and getting a tough week out of Conklin, who wasn't quite right. Now puts the world actually up, not just on points, but also on aggregate, as they have 311 points scored, 13 competition points. I'm sitting in second, as I seem to fucking just always do at the moment this year, 259 aggregate, but 12 competition points. And Tay, you got more points than me in aggregate, 305, but just because we were all going to last week, even on 10s, it just means wherever we ended up last week was where we are. You're on 11, but your scoring clearly showing, 11's probably a temporary stop for you, mate.
Yeah, mate, that's the goal. And yeah, can't wait to send the world into a fucking frenzy after this week.
Yeah. Now, no pressure, Benny, but you're representing the world. The world. 7.4 billion people. No pressure.
Now, I just want to start with, I think Tay must have been a bit pissed off about coming last because he told me that it's roster percentage, not start percentage. So I'm not very
like
well
a Taylor
prepared.
thing to do.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, mate, you got to find people who aren't even owned in 50% of leagues. Yeah.
I think it's 1% started.
No, look, I'm very excited about this, and did I hear I get to pick?
Sure do.
Yeah, pick which
You
position
do.
I
You
go.
get to choose not just the position you go, the position we go as well. You get to pick the draft order. One thing to know is that the players that were mentioned in Taylor Talk on the Friday show are out of bounds. So those players, just to refresh some memories, are the 3 New England guys, which I know we were clambering over for May. But, Pop Douglas and Hunter Henry may have come into figuring. So those guys are actually just out. And Alexander Madison. Those guys aren't available. So don't know if that will change what you think here. But it's good to know. Those players, we've just...
Look, I did have Pop Douglas in there, but never mind. Yep.
My name is Alexander Madison.
You know what sucks about this, though, is that you go, right, so if I pick 3 guys for this segment, I should get one of them. But then you don't realise as you come in the show is that, if Taylor picks one of them, now I have to have a 4th one. And then it's like, oh, shit, well, I'm just going to list 6 just to make sure I've got enough.
I do say to the people when I give them a little leeway, I always say pick 4 just because of that reason. Like, because you could have all 4 of my Taylor Talks on the list. So, at least you get 3.
100%. So armed with that knowledge, the 3 New England guys, of which maybe weren't clambering over all of them, but and Alexander Madison. As long as those guys are now out of the thinking, good to know. But mate, we'll take your guidance here. However you want to do it, as much or as little drama as you want. Who's picking where?
Okay. I might, picking first, I might go Matty C.
Oh. Have you picked first yet, Matty?
This is new ground for me,
Yeah,
Benny.
I didn't think so. You've been on the arsehole end a lot.
By design.
Now, Tay, I'm going to chuck you third, and I'm going to come right up between the arse cheeks.
Oh. Benny's the meat in the bun. By design. Look at that. He's chosen it. Okay, so I've got me first, which has never happened. This is, my God. I feel a little bit of pressure now. Benny's second, Taylor third.
Rarefied air.
Wow. Okay. And Benny, we need to work together, right? We're picking back. You and I are in a row, and we need to work together here. So we really sort of need to work out which 2 positions have the most valuable player at each to make sure Tay is just going for his bucket of assholes positions.
That's the plan.
Okay. I've never had the clock start with me just on it straight away, so I'm a little rattled. And I think just that he's at 49% started and he's on the road. Sorry, he's at home against a defense where you got to pass against him. Are we still giving Baker Mayfield the run?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I had him on the list, and I'm like,
I just want to rule him out. If he's not okay, he's not okay, and I'm fine with it.
He went from 42 to 49, and I was
Yeah.
just like, it's so close, and the fact that he's gone up, I'm like, I kind of feel like he deserves to be out of the segment. I don't know.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
He's out.
I left him, like, I had him initially, and then I decided to take 4 other guys, and I kind of just left him at the bottom, because it was one that I would have probably asked the question of as well,
Yeah.
but I personally thought he probably should be out.
And that is the weight of going first. Is sometimes you just need to float a player out there to make sure you get a ruling.
Make sure no one else gets them.
so that's a community service done. To me, then the obvious guy is that with ETN being out, I'm going to go and take Tank Bigsby against the New England defense, who haven't been terrific against really anything. The Jags have stayed in London all week, and I just kind of feel like, well, we know the ETN is going to be out. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw my chips on Bigsby.
Yep, that him definitely on my list.
He's currently started in 37% of leagues. That number is ascending. It may get to 50, but I just don't know what your life's going to be like. If he's not, if you had ETN, you needed to handcuff him. You just needed to. So I can understand why that number might jump. But for this point of this is to say, well, have confidence.
Well, last week you saw that, I know game script was probably part of it, but you saw Deonis Johnson actually take a lot of it. I know he seems to be what they consider a better pass catcher than Tank. So that's what makes me think there will be more Tank than we saw from the start of the game.
Have you ever seen a Tank catch a ball, by the way? Because this is Dell's problem. He's shit because Tanks don't have hands. And same as Bigsby.
Tanks don't have hands. Great analysis. That's what everyone comes
right there. 100%. The starts of the week is what brings this shit up, by the way. So.
Absolutely. All right, I can't wait to hear what Benny picks.
You got the whole world, but just you just got to think about two. We're just trying to make sure that we make Tay's job as hard as we can too. Right?
The whole world minus Tank.
Yeah. So, look, I did want to take running back there as well because I don't think there's heaps of depth there. I've just sort of changed my mind a little bit, and I'm actually going to follow Kieran's suit last week, so I'm going to take Josh Downs.
Okay.
I love this.
Mainly, I mean, I know Pittman is, who knows what's happening with Pittman at the moment.
No one knows.
Even he didn't know. He didn't know. He wound up catching a touchdown pass in a game he didn't even know he was going to play.
I still feel like that might be have a fair effect on what happens in this game. I know Miami are struggling a bit. They're not scoring a whole lot or anything, but I feel like Josh Downs will just he'll just demand the targets and just be a pretty safe floor on that one, I think.
I'm very proud of Benny. He just went straight to what I consider to be the best wide receiver available in the start of the week. And I feel like I just went and took the one guy at running back who's kind of a bit compelling. And I just feel like, Tay, the box out's on, mate.
I didn't actually have Downs on my list, and it's only because I have so much concern when it's Richardson. And again, we don't know who it's going to be, and that's why I don't take that shot, because I'm like, if it's all of a sudden Richardson, I just feel like his floor just drops so significantly straight away. So that's what concerns me with going him. I like it. Like, and if it's Flacco, you're just basically getting a bona fide starter straight away. So
fantasy and real football don't align, isn't it? It's
Yeah, and it's just like, you get Flacco and you're loving it, and then or you get Richardson, there's still a chance that Richardson could just be better than we think in the passing game, and you've got like the wide receiver one, especially if Pittman all of a sudden was out. Like, I do like it.
If Downs and Richardson are actually having secret Fruit Loops together too, and we don't know about it, then mate, mark Downs for a wide receiver one season.
It's
a throwback.
This one's technically a question, but his trend was actually down. He is right on the edge, but he went down a percent since like sort of waivers went through. So like the trends is actually gone backwards. Austin Eckler against the Panthers. I
wrote him down too.
He went from 50 to 49. So it's like after all the waivers went, and like obviously we don't know about Robinson. But for me, I just really liked his matchup against the Panthers, obviously. So he's the kind of guy that even if Robinson started, I still feel like he's going to be involved. So, that's who I was going to be floating out first.
Benny, I need your ruling on this one.
I mean, it's 49%. I think that solves it.
And look, if he was 30 and he'd gone up to 49, like as waivers read and stuff, I'd be like, it'd be the similar thing to what I just said about Baker. But the fact is, he went down, and like, I guess people are waiting on Robinson. I don't know, but I don't know. I still feel like he's iffy enough.
What a ride! Yeah. Eckler is in.
Cool. All right.
I mean, I'm down with that. I just think this is the segment, right? How fucking iffy can a bloke be? And look, I think we've rattled him here, Benny, because he just took a position he didn't have to take. Because he could have had the best quarterback in terms of just no one's touched it, or the best tight end because no one's touched those positions yet. And we've got him rattled, mate. He's on the run.
I don't know if best tight end exists. Just a bunch of arseholes. All right. I think I am going to go quarterback. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go Goff. Just pass funnel. Like, I already brought it up. I think this is finally going to be the game where they just can't run the ball easily, and I actually think it's going to be. Obviously, there's still the opportunities that they get down to the 3 or the 2 or whatever, and they just run it in because that's what they do a lot. But I just think this is an opportunity for Goff to actually show. The thing is, too, what I didn't like saying this, but I feel like the Hutch injury, if anything, helps them in offense. Like, I feel like if they can't defend. I know they passed it a shitload last week. They seem to just really want to pound the Cowboys. I don't think they've been doing that all year. But they had a game against Arizona where they didn't let them score, and then they didn't just pound. They just destroy them on the offensive side earlier in the year. So I just think this game, if they're actually giving some points up to the Vikings on the other side, I feel like it could be a shootout. I don't have to talk about Goff. He's been taken almost every single week. I think most weeks by me. I just love him. I think he's still getting started in not enough leagues. I've got a couple of leagues where I start him and I'm quite confident. So I'm going to take Goff.
I mean, he's just the poster child for the segment. Him and Geno Smith just seem to be the perpetually available.
Believe me, he's on the list.
Yeah, because that's what quarterback is this week. And I think Goff's in the 30s still because that's correct. That's correct. No dramas with that. Benny, this brings you back up. There's still everybody on earth at tight end, and you actually have no pressure to take a running back with Taylor and I having taken them already. We now can't take any, so you might as well wait till your last pick for running back and just make hay at either quarterback or tight end.
Yeah, that was my plan, and this sort of seems crazy to say that it's under 50% started, but I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. I know he's obviously not being great or anything. I just think it's going to be one of those games where he just going absolutely nuts and throwing 4 touchdowns. And I think he's 42% started in leagues, which is wild.
Now, where I think we're going to hit trouble is that he's 42% now, but he's 27% raised in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like this will be one of these ones where he blows out to over like 75 to 80% owned, and it's just, it doesn't fit. That's my contention, but I'll take Tay's ruling.
No, yeah, it's similar to what happened to Pollard last week. Yeah, you've already
It's coming off the bye player, because I think if he wasn't off the bye, he would never be this low. It's not that he's contentious.
I understand the idea of it. Like, it's worth asking because Mahomes is...
I love the balls to do it. Yeah.
But the problem is everyone who has him is probably still starting him. Like, it's just... He hasn't been bad enough for everyone to start benching him, but he really hasn't been the Patrick Mahomes that he is in real life. Like, he's been terrible. I would have to
fantasy. Horrible. Yeah, horrible.
I know we had like a Mark Andrews sighting at tight end, but I still feel like that was iffy enough. But Patrick Mahomes,
and he's still 51% now, not off a bye. Like he's good for that. But like not coming off a bye is Mahomes ever under 50? Probably not. That's my only contention.
Yeah.
Look, I'm happy with that ruling, and I'll re-pick guys.
I love the play, though. I just admire the shit out of the play. I've just been like, fuck it, he's 42%. You tell me I can't have him. I just love that.
All right, well, that changes things then. So I have decided to go, and I'm not super confident with this one, but I know I spoke about this in the previous episode. I'm actually going to go with Aaron Rodgers. So just with the Devontae Adams signing, and I know Pittsburgh's pretty tough, particularly at home. I just think he's going to have a massive game. They are throwing it a lot. Hopefully Pitt's up with the scoring, but I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and that's a good pivot, I think, too, because he's all of a sudden throwing more than he has in a Jets uniform and really since it's a Packers uniform. And now he's got more reasons to want to do it. Do it. I see how the Jets just like, well, if we've got Aaron Rodgers, we're not here to coach Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is here to bring his offense, and we furnish that. So Adams is part of that. Does it hurt Wilson? Maybe, maybe not. Like, it's probably just going to help Aaron Rodgers. So I like the play. I'm down with it.
Yep. No issue. I mean, he took him in his breakout plays. It makes sense.
Love it. I just love it. The double down. Double fucking down. This puts me on the clock with just every tight end available, and there's really only one who I think is sort of above the rest. I mean, yeah, there's one who I can see where there's a trend that would be helpful to jump on, but I'd rather just see it first. So I'm gonna just take Petty's breakout and go with Kate Otten.
He's number 2 on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one other who I think is, there's a reason why I should be excited about him, but I'm not until I see it. But yeah, I'm all about the odds. At home versus Baltimore, where just you can't run on them, but you can do everything else. So I'm there. My second pick here on the way back, you guys both got quarterbacks, so I'm pausing on that. I'm going to go and get my wide receiver. Benny's got a wide receiver. If I take a wide receiver, it means Taylor gets the dregs. He gets the filthy ass water. That's how we like it. Mate, I looked really, really hard at Lazard and thought, if I get Lazard, then I could go Rodgers and stack that bitch up. But then the Adams thing has kind of disrupted that because I just kind of wonder how needed Lazard is now. But you know what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the anti. I've already talked up Kelsey this week, but I'm going to go and talk up Worthy now and take Xavier Worthy against the 49ers. He is definitely no sure thing. He's trending up. I'm not sure if we'll get to 50% or not. So this is also to get a ruling. How happy are we with Matty C taking Xavier Worthy?
Is there... honestly, I'll be honest, I don't have Worthy in any league. And he kind of hasn't been one that's factored in my mind too much. I know everyone was excited after week 1, and then I think everyone started plugging him into their lineup. What was he last week, before the bye?
He was over 50% then, but his finishes have been wide receiver 11, right? Week 1. Yep. Wide receiver 70, wide receiver 77, wide receiver 22. Okay. Wide receiver 38. He's only had one game where he's had more than 5 targets as well. So really, the market's been hot on him for no good reason. I'm now saying, I see the reason why people should be hot on him, but I can't imagine people are anymore. I'm kind of playing a bit of he's coming off the bye. People have seen him be dirt water for 4 weeks after he was good for 1. How confident are you going to be to start him? I think this is a week where he could be, because I think the Chiefs are just going to want to blast the piss out of San Francisco, especially in San Francisco where they just get all the calls.
My only conjecture with it would be, since the Rice injury, I feel like people are more
100% why I've gone for it.
But I feel like that's kind of against it in the way that if that would probably mean he would be over 50%, because most people that have him would be like, there's no Rice, I want the wide receiver 1 for the Chiefs and go him. I don't know. It's a hard one for me because, like I said, I don't have a lot of him. I've never really quite looked at exactly how many leagues he's been started in. Most people I'm against that have him do start him. That's what makes me think I don't 100% know.
And I'm cool to rule him out, but I thought, here's the one chance I might get to have him play.
I feel like what happened with Kieran last week's kind of making me a bit gun-shy. It's making me think like throwing the gavel.
Cool with it.
What do you reckon, Benny? Do you reckon sort of Worthy fits in this?
Yeah, I'll just go with you on that one. It's
cool. Roll him out.
Sorry, Matty.
It's hard. It's close. Put it that way. Yeah. We're probably being a bit too cutthroat with that. But fuck you, Matty.
I'm cool with it. I'll circle back and check it out where he winds up, because and this is the thing. We need to start to get a good understanding of where players coming off a bye, who's actually legit, still going to fit a segment coming off a bye, because then just ruling out players coming off a bye is kind of a shit rule. So, and I don't want us to be there either. My backup then, and I'm not taking Lazard because that got messed up. I'm leaning to Tyler Lockett at Atlanta.
Well, you guys have taken 3 between you technically, and none of them are on my list.
Because your list is shit.
I agree.
It's not the quality of people we're picking, it's the quality of your list, mate. And reason for Lockett is that, weirdly, even though Seattle aren't scoring 60 million points, but each of the receivers is actually, for fantasy purposes, doing quite well. Lockett's getting nice long catches. He's had games where he's been targeted more and more, and other games where he just isn't targeted a lot, but he just gets the long catch or the touchdown. And I mean, that's all you're looking for, right? If you're trying to cover bye weeks where we've got a lot of wide receivers out with all the Bears guys and all the Cowboys guys out, that's all you're looking for is a guy who can either volume his way or take the flash play. And I know he is as uncontroversial as they get, 35% on the road in Atlanta. I'm taking him. Can't take him off me.
No, absolutely fine.
Now, Benny, you're up. Tight end might be the spot to go because Tay's already got his running back.
It is, and unfortunately, you took Kate Otten.
One of us had to. One of us had to. It's teamwork, remember?
So I've got another bloke who has, over the last few years, been really good. He's been a bit quiet this year, but I think this is probably the game he's going to step up. So it's Dalton Schultz.
That's exactly who I have on my list.
Be nice. Playing against Green Bay, probably going to be a decent amount of points in that game, I'd imagine. Getting targeted plenty, just hasn't made much of it so far. But yeah, hopefully he can have a big one this one.
30th against tight end. They seem to just funnel it. They don't seem to really defend it at all. That was good. He was third on the list. There is someone else I was just almost going to just take for the sake of it because of his targets. But, I would have considered him. If you'd left him, I would have probably talked between this other guy and him for sure.
Very happy with you right now, Penny.
Thank you, mate.
It's not the top guy of Taylor's list, clearly, because I think I may have been on as well. But it means that Taylor's picking someone who's somewhere inferior. I'm okay with it.
Otten was 2, only because I just feel like this guy just gets volume every single week, and it's Zach Ertz against the Panthers. I'm just going to take him. It's not like someone I'm sitting there just clamoring for and stoked that I've got him, but it's just the amount of targets he's getting is insane. I just trust Jaden Daniels. So, he will be my tight end. I'll be honest.
That very rare running back tight end stack. You just don't see it every week.
I know, and I feel like it normally would go against that, but I feel like history has shown us that these weird stacks work in this segment, so I'll trust the Commanders.
They're so weirdly successful. I need to go back and look at the numbers on this, but I reckon the wide receiver tight end and the running back tight end has actually come up really often and won.
I'll be honest, too, against the Panthers, I feel like they're the perfect offense to do this because what you even saw with Darnell Mooney last week is sometimes you can get in front of them and honestly one part of your offense actually struggles because you're smoking them or you're moving the ball so easily. So to have the running back and tight end, I like that because one's in the passing game, one's in the running game. So I feel like I'm kind of getting it like that, even if it's a bit of a blowout. So I don't mind that against that kind of defense. So I'll be honest, I'm glad. I was always going to leave wide receiver to last, unless obviously my hand was forcing you guys. Was the only position I could take. But I don't know. It was one of these ones I
can't wait to see the dirtbag you take.
I don't have a lot of conviction. Your guys you took weren't even on my list, but that's not me thinking that is bad for you guys. It's legitimately that I just don't have huge conviction and a lot of guys. I'm gun shy on 2 guys from the same team because of what I did with fucking Octavian Wicks 2 weeks ago. And I think that I had the guy there and then he just sucked ass. There's a rookie I've brought up before that I've got on my list. There's an unbelievable risk in terms of a guy who's now a wide receiver 1 on a team that has the worst quarterback in the history of the fucking world. So it's do you take what you think is going to be a volume for a terrible quarterback? It's a tough one. It really is. Also, one of these guys is the most injury-prone person in the world, and I just came off a fucking week where I didn't have a wide receiver. It's a real good mix of players here, so I'm really in deep here. Fuck it. I'm going to take Romeo Dobbs.
We've got him rattled, Benny. We've got him rattled. And that's Dobbs versus the Texans who, that game's going to have points, so the ball's going to go to someone.
And it's there. I don't like Jacobs in that game because Texans are awesome against running backs. It's another pass funnel. I just feel like you have to beat the Texans in the air. And I just feel like that's what's going to happen. Dobbs, to me, clearly shown. I've always thought he's had a good rapport of love. I was surprised it wasn't him early, and then he fucking threw a hissy fit all of a sudden he's getting targets last week. So I'm hoping that's prescriptive. Because I was like, obviously there's no one left. I was picking between him and Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, I'm just like, he walks into the wide receiver one role, but for fucking Voldemort, Deshaun Watson, I just hate it. I couldn't even feel good about starting Murray Cooper every single week with Watson throwing. So I don't know how I would feel confident in Jerry Jeudy. So
I kind of wondered if the barbecued one might come up this week as well, you know? He was kind of the other tight end I thought might come up as our friend, the barbecued one.
Yeah, mate, sure. I had Dobbs and Christian Watson written down because I was like, I feel like they're both in a decent spot, but I'm like, after last week, I just can't take the risk. Like, Watson's just fucking, he wakes up slightly wrong and he's got an injury. I can't deal with this again.
It's made out of paper. You know how we joke about some players being made of glass like Debo? It's like, no, he's actually made out of something even more fragile. Wet paper.
Yeah, porcelain. Leggett against the Commanders was another one that I was looking at. Obviously, a rookie that I've liked, and he's only 12% started against the Commanders, 28th against wide receiver. That wasn't one. That was one I was kind of looking at too. But yeah, that was just a few that I was looking at. I even had Juju written down against the Niners after his game, but I just wouldn't go there.
Tay's team at the moment all complete: Goff, Eckler, Dobbs, Ertz, Benny. You've only got 3 players. I reckon your team's already better than his. Wrap it up with the 4th one and really just
I hope so.
Put it in his cheeks, mate.
No worries. And this is a bloke that I actually mentioned on the last show as one of my breakouts. I really like him, and I know we're talking about how his snaps went up last week, and I just feel like he's taken over from Zach Moss. So I'm going to take Chase Brown.
Yeah.
They're up against one on my list because he was who I thought of first, but then Eckler ended up second, and then I kind of just liked him.
I can't argue with this either because the Cleveland Browns can do whatever you like to them. They can't defend your pass. They can't defend your running game. And Chase Brown has been slowly taking that over, but also Zach Moss has been a bit iffy. And also, like you were saying, you kind of feel like the role's slipping away.
I think it is. I think it's starting to change. And like I was saying as well, I think Chase Brown's got more to offer in the receiving game as well, which obviously just helps him out a bit as far as fantasy goes. So I'm very high on him, and that's my pick.
I've got one word for you: PPR. Is that a word? Yeah, it's a word now. PPR. I think that's a reason why Chase Brown's useful.
The dick joke.
And kind of like why Eckler's useful. He doesn't even have to have all the running ball. He just appears out there on third downs. They trot him out close to the goal line sometimes just to give a defense something to look at. And I kind of like that too. I'm going to wrap this sucker up with my quarterback. And in a game where I expect there to be points, it was difficult because he came off the world record game. And then last week he was picked in the segment as well and then had not a great game against a defense that could kind of have your way with versus Carolina. But I'm going to go back to the Kirk Cousins because he's only been starting 35% of leagues, and I think that's correct. But we do expect at home, this game's going to have some points in it. I definitely expect that because I'm picking the 3rd Seattle receiver. That's how much confidence I've got there's going to be points in this game. So Kirk's going to need to be keeping up, and I just think that means the ball moves and he's moving it. So that's going to be my final play, Kirk Cousins, to wrap my team up. We made it. That's all 12 guys.
I'm against the Achilles brothers, Rogers and fucking Cousins.
Nice and young blokes too, really.
Yeah, real spry.
If you told me when I was going to wake up this morning that I would hear Taylor Goodall, of all people, tell me that he would use the word spry correctly, I would have said there's no way.
Technically, I was saying it incorrectly on purpose because they definitely are not spry.
Yeah, but for the sarcasm, you nailed it. And mate, I'm super impressed. Did you get a thesaurus for your birthday or something?
Why not?
That'll do. Let's run through these teams. My side, after the pressure of the first pick, I've got Cousins, Bigsby, Lockett, and Otten. Betty, congratulations on sailing through this segment. And your team is only Aaron Rodgers, Chase Brown, Josh Downs, and Dalton Schultz. That team's definitely good enough to come second to me, mate.
No, this is a winner, this one. I was actually very surprised at that.
And I mean, gee, only dented by not getting Mahomes. So,
Yeah, that's bullshit.
How
Hear
dare
that,
you
Taylor?
guys rule him out?
bullshit, mate. That's it. We're rigging it. Tay's team, he's got Goff, he's got Eckler, he's got Dubs, and he's got Ertz. They're our teams. We're all locked in. And just a quick recap. The world currently leads. Benny is about to try and extend that lead. They've got 13 points ahead of me on 12 and Taylor on 11. How did that feel, Benny? The pressure cooker that is the starts of the week segment. How do you feel now that you're through it?
I feel fantastic now. Coming into it, obviously, with the misinformation that Tay gave me, made it a bit difficult. But no, we got there, and I'm quite happy with the team. Yeah,
I'm proud as fuck of you, mate. Absolutely proud. I think you've just nailed this. And mate, anything you and I can be doing to just make sure we keep Tay where he is, and we work our way up and just try and put a lead on this sucker.
Yep, sounds good.
Tay, you'd be also pretty happy with Benny's team. Like if you just come in off the street, had some jerk tell you that you could only pick people less than 10% owned, and then you came up with this team, you'd feel pretty happy?
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off. I really want some of these world wankers to start picking some shitter teams. It'll be really good. But it was funny. Like there was a couple of positions there where I literally only wrote down 3 people, and we took all 3. It was like running back is we took the exact 3 that I'd written down, and tight end as well. So yeah, I feel like we're on the same page basically everywhere except wide receiver and obviously Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, it's a rough segment when you say, well, you can't start Pat Mahomes in fantasy. So sorry, Benny. But that's it. We've made it through. Thank you so much for joining us, Benny. And we've had a great time. For all those who haven't caught it, make sure you get back and catch up where we meet Benny in the first episode and we go through the 5 questions, all the breakouts. And of course, we've just made it through this. But I made also all the very best with your fantasy this year.
Thank you very much. Like I said in the last one, I'm on a wild tank journey at the moment, and it's quite enjoyable.
He's playing me this week too, so this might be his first win.
Yeah, I hear Tay's doing some fun things with his dynasty team there too. Be interesting to see. Mate, Tay, thank you so much again for playing the place getter of third. I love when you do that, mate. So can you keep that up?
Yeah, that's. I like to give myself a challenge, mate. Like obviously, I'm just basically repeating the first 2 weeks again. I'll put myself in a 4-point hole and I'll just come roaring back. That's what I do. But anyway, just thanks so much for coming on, Benny. You've always been a really good supporter of ours. Like you've obviously reached out and talked about listening to the episodes in previous years, and it was really, really good to finally do this concept about having different voices on every single week. And to say that you're willing to come on and have a chat was really, really good, mate. So thank you for the support. Thanks for listening, and thanks for coming on and having a shot at starts and taking a shot at me and Maddie. It was great.
Yeah.
100%. Thanks for having us on. And anytime I'll be happy to come back on.
And of course, you can find everything that's Aussie Gridiron Network through the mothership, linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. It's home to all the G'day Gridiron stuff. They've got 2 episodes up already, so don't miss on them. Don't sleep, otherwise you're better off giving yourself an uppercut. And you can also catch everything that Manjot's doing as well. He's got Aussie Gridiron Today, which is based in the Australian Gridiron Leagues, and also Manjot Night Football, providing analysis to the NFL happenings as well on his YouTube channel, which is Pastry Press NFL. You can find that on YouTube, but all of it is through linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. It's where you get it all. You'll also find a nice booty shirt thanks to the great caption from our first episode where we put Benny through the Tinder question and he did not disappoint. In the meantime, though, fellas, all the best for week 7, and that goes to everybody out there. Very good luck, and we'll catch you all in week 8 as we cross the halfway point of the NFL fantasy regular season. Hooroo!
Adios!
Yep.
For the Aussie Gridiron Network.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
You'll find very quickly who's your friend in this segment and who's just out to fuck you up. So,
I think you can probably have a guess.
and I think he's got some unresolved Sigourney Weaver stuff going on there too, to be very fair.
Aussie.
Everyone's thought he's been toast for a couple of years, but he legitimately is Vegemite toast now.
What's the opposite of good? Anyone got a word for that? Like
Yeah,
not good or...
NFL.
I have no idea how I got onto a fantasy show at all.
How did that even happen? How did you get recruited by those idiots?
Fantasy.
Bit like Taylor's free throw percentage. I average a QB pressure per snap, but I won't tell you how many snaps I've had.
Yeah,
The-
don't ever. I'd never tell. Don't tell. I wouldn't tell anyone how many free throws I took.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Oh, come on.
Go on, Brendan, do it.
Cocomet.